I don't have my. We are live. What's going on out there, YouTube? This is 0320 representing JVS. We are here for a live discussion, part one, in fact, of Marvel's very own Captain America: Civil War. So I have here, I've got Anthony, Lucas, CK96198 here. Everybody, this is going to be pretty interesting because this is a full spoiler talk. So if you've not seen the movie, take this, put it in your watch later, and come back because you do not want to be spoiled with the stuff that we're going to talk about. We're going to have different perspectives on what we thought about the movie. Some of us loved it. Some of us thought it was okay. So we're going to go and give you our personal thoughts within an hour constraint. And we'll also try to monitor the chat as well. Does anybody want to introduce themselves?
I'll let you guys. I always introduce myself.
Alright, Anthony, you want to go first?
I could go first if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so my name and pleasure to be here. I'm a young YouTuber. I've been doing this for about 3 months now, and my my passion right now is just movies and TV shows, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about Civil War, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming, bro. This is like our first time actually even joining in the chat, so this is very awesome. Lucas, who are you?
Well, just a movie guy. Love movies. Thinking about, doing the YouTube podcast thing eventually whenever the guy who's supposed to be my partner is ready to jump into everything. I think this is the third discussion I've been a part of with the Star Wars one and Deadpool.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Nice.
And last but not least, CK.
Yep, hello everybody, CK61938 here. If you're not familiar with my stuff, well, first of all, you might be able to tell from the bits of stuff behind me that I'm quite a huge Superman fan, and this room is practically, well, I'll show you. Okay, pretty much a whole room sort of just dedicated to
Wow.
all things Superman, as you can see. But yeah, so I'm from the UK, as you can tell, and I've been doing YouTube videos since as long as I can remember. I know Sam has been following me for quite a few years as well. I started off just doing, sort of like real talk videos about my life, which was pretty boring. And then, because I was also watching Smallville at the time, suddenly I decided to start doing reviews on Smallville. And it pretty much all kicked off from there. That's pretty much when everything kicked off from there. Started doing Smallville, then reviewing movies as well. Got to the stage where I started reviewing the Arrow TV series and the Flash TV series as well. I have since actually stopped reviewing the TV shows because I actually couldn't keep up with doing all of them. You're talking Gotham, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah, there was no way I was going to keep up doing all of them, so I've actually stopped it. And my movie reviews have also just been narrowed down to, well, now they've actually been narrowed down to just DC Comics movies. Wow. Hence why I've not done a Civil War movie review, but I have done a Batman v Superman one. In fact, I've done 3 Batman v Superman movie reviews so far. So yeah, that's it from me. Enough babbling.
Oh my goodness, dang man, I didn't even know all that. Yeah, like small fact, but like one of the reasons why I even started YouTube was because of CK's channel. Dude was pushing out content like crazy. Huge advocate for Smallville fan, but just in the genre of superhero film, period. He was one of the first ones I actually started looking at. So I really appreciate this guy. So let's get into the movie. All right. So here comes the spoilers. First off, what was everybody's impression as soon as they saw the second credit sequence? Like, what was your real impressions coming out of Civil War? Anybody can go first.
I'll be honest, I had no idea what it actually signified, if I'm going to be totally honest. Okay, here's Spider-Man with a cool, gadget from Tony Stark. It's like, what exactly is it? Because all it just did was projected the spider, sort of like logo on his roof, and I'm thinking, what exactly does it say? So yeah, because to be fair, I have read Spider-Man comics when I was younger,
Yeah.
but since then I've not touched a Marvel comic book. It's all been DC comics. I think from the age of like 13 onwards, 13, 14 onwards, I've been doing reading DC comics. But before that, for a brief moment, it was Spider-Man. So for me, I just didn't know what that logo meant at the end of the film. So if anyone who is a Marvel comic book reader would like to clarify, that'd be great.
I mean, I know that in the old like Spider-Man like old like comics and shows, like he also used to have that little emblem and stuff like that. But I think it more reminiscent of the new Spider-Man cartoon, where he's gotten actual tech from Shield, he's got tech from Tony Stark, and I mean, I don't know if that's signifying he's also going to get a new like Iron like Spider-Man costume. But I think it's definitely kind of like try and pay homage to like the old Spider-Man and then the comic book and the cartoon version at the same time. I think it's just a small simplistic thing. But as far as the movie is concerned, what was your takeaway from that, CK?
I'll be honest, I really enjoyed Spider-Man, and it's good to see that he's back, back at home, essentially, where he belongs. It's a shame that it's taken Sony 2 different iterations of Spider-Man to make them realize, you know what, we're not doing a good job of this. Marvel, have him back, do what you can with him. The fact that it took that long for them to realize is kind of a shame. Marvel should have had it from the beginning. But what I actually took away from it is he really brought a more, a youthful exuberance, as I'd like to call it, to the film. He brought in the one-liners and the quirks and the really, the humorous side as well. But at the same time, it gave us a glimpse of what's to come when his movie comes out next year. When Homecoming gets released, gave us a glimpse of what we can expect. We're not really going to get much of an origin because they already kind of did the origin in Civil War. So there's no need to actually delve into the origin again. We know what happens. He gets bitten by a radioactive spider, gets his superpowers, goes on from there. We don't need to see that again. We've seen it twice already. No need for it again. So I really, really enjoyed his, Tom Holland. I'm sure I remember seeing a quick sort of like audition tape that he did where he's actually in his back garden, he's doing backflips and forward rolls and everything, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy can actually move.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw that
with
too.
the previous actors with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, but this kid, he can move. He actually can move like Spider-Man. So, and it was good to see him there, and it will be good to see where they take him. How many movies are we going to get out of him? Are we just going to see this one, and is he then going to be just pretty much a permanent fixture of Avengers? Will they eventually cross back over to Sony's side and do like, I don't know, will they still bring in Venom, Sinister Six, anything like that? Because, again, they should still do the Venom movie, they should still do Sinister Six and still have that crossover. Because it's there. It's there now. Because Sony and Marvel are sharing Spider-Man now. So it's not going to be something that can't be done. It's just got a question of when can it be done. We've got Homecoming next year. Let's just see where it takes us.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucas or Anthony, what were your impressions of the movie in general, just coming out of it?
Overall, when I walked out of the theater, I was really happy. Spider-Man, I grew up watching Spider-Man the animated series when I was younger, and just a
Breaking up.
version when I was younger, and being amazed by the visual effects done right. Him
He's death stepping.
Peter are in the room talking, and there's not a moment where it's like an origin story pretty much, and he's we've seen him, Uncle Ben's death, but that one scene alone showed his backstory of when you have powers like this, when bad things happen, you have to do right. It's a bit. I know I'm out of context with that line he said, but that scene alone, I was like, wow. This is the first time I'm seeing these characters talk and interact, and that was a highlight for me for the movie. Overall, I was really satisfied. This is Marvel's most mature movie to date. Well, that's just my opinion. So.
No, that's good. Anyone else?
Holy crap. That was weird.
That was good. He just gone. Disappeared.
I just disappeared and came back. Lucas, what about you?
I guess the pick up on the way you started it off.
Where you went, bro? Where you at?
I'm still here, as you can see at the bottom of the screen.
There you
I guess the best way to start off is the way the second end credit scene ended, because I had to see it a second time to see that second end credit scene, because I think the first screening we went to, it didn't have it. So when I saw it, I'm thinking, okay, is this like Spider-Man's bat signal, or what was really the point of even showing that? I understood that they did it just because it's a way to tease, the next Spider-Man movie, but that scene did nothing at all for me. Mm-hmm. But the movie as a whole, I went into it expecting like just the basic Marvel movie, which is, nice action sequences, just a story that's together, and it delivered on all fronts to me. While it's not the best Marvel movie to me, but it's a really good, well executed one. And again, I love Spider-Man in it. Black Panther, who I didn't know anything about really before seeing this movie, like, to me, he was the star of the movie. Mm-hmm. If I could have got even more of him, I would have liked it even better. Or even more of him, or Scarlett Witch, who I thought was like really the emotional weight behind this movie to me was her. Mm-hmm. Like, more of them I would have liked even more, but it was still definitely a really good like summer popcorn film. You go see, grab the family, and just like zone out for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I mean, the movie does a great job of taking you into that world and just turning your brain off for a second to just look at the spectacle of the action and the glamour. And then at the same time, they take elements from Avengers, they take elements from Winter Soldier and converge them into one. So it's like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because there are moments that I'm like, man, this is so amazing. But then as a reviewer, I have to take a step back and it's like, okay, this is Captain America's movie. This isn't the Avengers movie. Mm-hmm. How do I platform this as a film versus just the spectacle of everything that's going on? Because when I saw Black Panther, even not in costume, and the way that T'Challa talked, from his accent, from the way he carried himself, I was like, I'm fanboying out. Like, I need to calm down. Like, my heart can't take all this. And then to see him try to save his dad, he came so close to saving his dad, and then for him to fail, and then him go on this verge of vengeance, I was like, oh my gosh, this dude, when they finally had him in costume and people tried to come at him, nobody really could stop him at all.
No.
And I was like, he is, for me, one of the biggest stars, just as much as Spider-Man is. And I came out of the movie torn, because I love Tony's emotional turn. I love Spider-Man. I love Black Panther. But when it came to Cap and the emotional moments that he had, I don't know, it wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. The payoff.
He's a Boy Scout.
Well, not even just that. The payoff from this comic and the fact of how Civil War in and of itself divided the universe. This, in the way that they ended off, it ended like the blueprint of a Marvel film would, which is self-gratifying to the audience.
Yeah, exactly, like a happy ending, and just we're best friends again, and just like continue the storyline moving forward, and we're not even gonna be part of the next movie, pretty much.
But see, that's the thing. Like, a movie is meant to entertain you and take you outside of your world, and it did that. It did that
exactly.
On
Yeah.
And so that's why I came out torn. I loved it. The second time I watched it, I looked at it again. I really loved it. The problem was that I didn't count this above Winter Soldier. I only gave this a 9 out of 10. I didn't give this a full 10 out of 10. I think it could have. I think there's certain tangible things that could have changed, but it didn't meet my needs right there. So, I guess the better question for y'all is, as critics and as, reviewers, how do y'all grade this from a movie standpoint and from a superhero standpoint? How does this stand for y'all as a film, and how does this stand for y'all as a superhero film? Because I know all of y'all have generally reviewed everything to some capacity. So how do y'all treat this movie?
Well, for me, I think for a superhero movie, it was really good. It was really good, and it probably should have been, if as General Ross asked in the film, does anybody know where Thor and Banner are right now? Yeah. If those two were in the film, that's it. It's an Avengers movie straight off. It pretty much had the main Avengers cast, but just missing those two. But if they were there, might as well have just called it Avengers 3. Okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, for a comic book film, it was really good. For a movie in general, for me, it just didn't... Because I'm going to criticize it the same way that a lot of people criticize Batman v Superman. For me, it was all over the place. The editing wasn't really as straightforward as I thought it was going to be. And there were similarities to Batman v Superman, obviously. But as just a general film, you could easily have taken out Ant-Man, you could have taken out War Machine, and probably even Falcon as well, and Vision. And even Hawkeye. I'm just wondering why they were in that film. Vision was only in it for probably not even all of 5 minutes, if we're lucky. I can see why they had Scarlet Witch. She was there because she obviously caused the collateral damage in Nigeria. But at the same time, I think Vision, Falcon, Ant-Man, and War Machine for me were it was just one character too many. Yes, everybody played their roles. And also, not to be disrespectful, Sharon Carter, I think, was only there purely for 2 reasons. One, Steve Rogers' love interest, and 2, for the fact Peggy had died as well. Again, the film might not have needed her. Black Widow, to an extent, I can see why she was brought in. She was siding with Stark. It's kind of... I want to say that it's like a spy movie, but that's what Winter Soldier was. Winter Soldier was a proper spy espionage movie, whereas Civil War was just basically... You could put it as a war film in some sense. I would say it's kind of akin... I wouldn't say... When I say it's akin, I mean in terms of the context of the movie... I would say it's got a mixture. I don't know if you guys have seen Black Hawk Down and also Green Zone with Matt Damon.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It kind of mashed those two together. Wow. And that's what Civil War gives you.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, you've got Green Zone and then you've got Black Hawk Down. Mash those two together, that's effectively Civil War right there. That's what I think. That's my mindset on it anyway. So that's my feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that. I will stop real quick because we got a newcomer. This is Broden's son.
Broden's son. What a name.
What's going on, man?
Konnichiwa, bitches. What's up?
Already lit up the place.
Hey, my man from across the pond. What's up, Nigel? Where you at, Cardiff?
We've got 5 black dudes and one of them's calling himself Black Odin. I like it.
I'm Broden's son. Let me explain this to you.
Yeah.
Y'all know all the gods always come down and try to get a piece of ass, right? Well, they ain't no different. So, Odin saw one of them round the way girls, and he had to hit it.
That's it.
And here I am.
Wow.
Here I am.
Oh,
I'm putting the ass guard. I mean, look, I just realized something. How come y'all don't have no white dudes here, man?
Oh,
guy is going to cut this shit off. I can see it right now. This can't be right. Do you know for the black man to get the Avengers Avengers, they asked him where Patty Hearst was.
That's so messed up.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm just saying.
Oh my God. So all right.
Fish and chips, baby, fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
So Broden-san, one of the first questions I asked was, when you got out of the movie, what was the first thing you really felt coming out of the movie? I know you're a huge Marvel fan, but you're a fan of the superhero genre in general. What was your take on Civil War coming out of it?
Well, first I was highly entertained.
Okay.
I appreciated that it was a very well acted movie.
Uh-huh.
I saw a broad range of emotion. I felt a broad range of emotion. And I enjoyed the audience's reaction to things that went on. My initial thought when I left was, as I talked to you before, by the time we get to Infinity War, I believe a very specific thing will happen in the first act. But I don't want to get in all of that. But I'm very happy moving forward with the other Marvel movies, and I can't wait for the Panther to come out, because that's where I think the Winter Soldier will come back.
Wow. I didn't even think about that prospect.
Well, they got to fix his brain.
Mm.
Yeah.
And give him a new arm. Give him the what?
So the thing was that the next question we asked was, as far as this being a superhero film, like what would you classify this as, a superhero film versus it being just a film? The genre itself of a regular film versus it being a superhero film. Because as a superhero film, to me, I think it succeeded on a lot of different fronts of crowd pleasing, has some of the best action moments of like a lot of different superhero films. And I think it laid a big groundwork for what they already have done for the past 8 years to culminate into something really big. But in terms of an actual film, I couldn't give it a full 10 because there were a lot of tonally inconsistent things that brought me out of the developmental process of every single character. Like, I love Black Panther. I love him just as a character, his acting. I thought he was fine. Tony, even though this isn't his movie, he brought it on an emotional standpoint and brought tone to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I think about Cap, and then when I think about people being like in there like Ant-Man, it makeshifts the tone, and it changes it from where Winter Soldier was one set tone, and it changes it back and forth from an Avengers movie to a serious espionage movie and then to a war film like CK said. And that's why I had issues with kind of the villain, but more so than anything, the payoff of what was the point of everything that kind of happened. How did things leave off? Was there a real shifting in the tides such as it was in the actual book? And unfortunately, I didn't get that. I got the new Secret Avengers. I got like Tony's initiative technically, but there wasn't that ultimate kind of payoff that I was kind of looking for as a movie. I think that it could have easily been a 10 if they would have taken certain risks, but I didn't get that from the film as a whole. But from a superhero standpoint, I think they did everything right to please the fans, especially bringing the franchise of Spider-Man in this film. I said to everybody, I said, look, when they come out that first trailer, when Spider-Man's in it, that's it. That's the whole year right there, because Spider-Man was his own franchise, and now he's in the Marvel Universe. It's like bringing Wolverine in. It'd be that same exact feeling, and it's nothing like that. That's why when Avengers came out, we never seen anything like that. That's the same thing with Civil War, with Spider-Man being in this one and Black Panther being in it. But I'm sorry to take the stream from away from you, Anthony and Lucas. What did y'all think as far as comparing this from a movie from a superhero film? And even Odin-san, what was your take on that?
Well,
Now, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So overall, my issues with the movie is, like you said, the tone. And, you know, I love the Civil War comic, and I think that it was such a great ideological battle between the two, you know, Iron Man and Captain America, but I think what they failed at it's and this is just my opinion. The airport scene, I think, took me out of the movie because it was funny and it was entertaining, but the tone of the movie overall was this personal, like guilty, this consequence, the Accords, like all of that was there, but and then when they went to the ending where Bucky killed his parents, I thought that it went back to that tone, and like it was weird. I don't know what it was. Like here's the thing: the movie as a movie, it's good, but as a comic book movie, they should not have called this movie Civil War at all. I think that the only real similarities between this. I know Marvel always takes little differences from the comics, but it was really civil dispute because no one dies in the movie, which was like something that bothered me a lot. After watching it, I've seen it like 3 times, and it was really like the tone. Like I wanted to ask this too. I'm sorry, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but I want to know if Captain America knew that Tony was that Bucky killed his parents, right? Do you think there's any way that Bucky can be redeemed after this movie? Because how do you expect these guys to be in the same room together, considering the fact they had to fight Thanos in Infinity War? That's the thing that's like, how are they gonna even like be friends again? So,
well, I mean, for me personally, I don't feel like they have a choice. Like from the standpoint that your world, right? You got a man that can just end lives with one stone, and he's gonna have a gauntlet that can do whatever, right? So from that standpoint, it doesn't matter. And this goes back to Rodinson's theory. I'll go ahead and mention what his theory was. He said that with Captain America, just like in the Civil War comics, one of the most pivotal moments was having the person that we all love, Captain America, that represents, the civilness and the camaraderie and togetherness and the soldier, die. That happened in the comics. That was one of the things I didn't like about the weight of this movie. But his theory was that in the first act of Infinity Wars, that they potentially kill Captain America. Like, Thanos takes him out. And who is the only person that can even think to carry the shield? Now, it's going to have to be earned. It's going to have to be merited. But it would be so much more self-serving going into part 2 of Infinity Wars if that transition happened. That's the only way I could actually feel more redeemed with this film. But in terms of Bucky, they don't really have a choice. He has to, at some point, they're going to need him. They need his asset. It's the same thing with Black Widow. Think about how many lives she really killed. You know what I'm saying? In fact, in this movie, they killed us some people. Everybody's so quick to get upset with other movies. Like, the Avengers have end lives. But, I mean, the thing is, though, this is a comic book movie, right? But there are other movies that people are quick to judge and get upset about and taken out of the fact and the perception that they are superhero movies, that things like this happen all the time. When I looked at Batman, what was it, 1989? Michael Keaton was renting a freaking jet, blowing people up using like exactly. You know what I'm saying? People forget that kind of stuff, but that happens in superhero films because that's what they're supposed to be looked at, and not supposed to be overly analyzed and overly critical. But that's going into something else. But I just wanted to answer your question real quick. But Lucas and Rodison, what did y'all take on, I guess, film versus superhero?
Well, all right. Now, I know you said you couldn't give it a 10, but see, I got 12, so I can give it a 10. Bring me specifically. No, really. I found that it was... if we wanted to take it lighthearted, I'd say it reminds me of what's going on with the Democrats and Republicans right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? We got our own civil war right here in America. So we got those two factions. They can't get along. They hate each other. Want to duke it out, right? But here comes old One Hung Lo over in Korea, and he getting ready to blow us all up, so we have to band together. But no, here's my thing. I enjoyed it as a comic book movie as much as I did as a classic spy, a Hitchcockian spy type thing. I look at it like Battlestar Galactica. It just happened to happen in space. It really wasn't necessarily a science fiction thing, although a lot of it took place in space and fantastical things. But it was a story about the human condition. I looked at this movie in that respect. That, yes, we know they're superheroes. They're going to fly around. They're going to blow shit up. We know all that. That's great. But what I took away most from it was the emotional moments that they showed, and you bought into them. I bought into them. And like I said, with the Captain America not dying, the way I see it is I see that in the Black Panther movie, they will fix Bucky's mind, and they will get that trigger out of him, because obviously he's triggered. It's going to take Tony Stark a while to accept the fact that he was triggered. We know there are sleeper agents that are not superheroes that you call them up, trigger them, they go and blow themselves up. We know that. I think it'll take a while for him to accept the fact that this man something was done to him, because Bucky was always a good guy, but something was done to him beyond his ability to control it.
Yeah.
What could he do? I think that they will fix him. Captain America will get killed in the first act of Infinity War. That murder of Captain America, I believe, if it happens, that is what will first break them ultimately. But that is also the catalyst that will pull them together, like they've not been together before.
Like Coulson, or the death of Coulson in Avengers 1?
Yes, with no cards. And if you do, you know, two black dudes selling shirts.
Wow.
Yo, man, got it, man. I got these joints right here. Yo, what's up? What's up with you, man? You know, bro, this something. I got right 2 for 4, man. You got about 44 of these bitches.
All right, Lucas, what is your take, man? Because I know you got a lot to say.
Oh man. Again, as a superhero film, which I will focus on first, I think to me it's either top 3 or top 2 best superhero films I've ever seen. But to say it's a great superhero film, to me, it's a backhanded compliment. Like, to call this a great superhero film is the equivalent of saying, like, she's pretty for a dark-skinned girl. It's like, okay, but if you judged it as a movie, I mean, I think I said this when we left the screening, that to me it was a 7 to 7.5 maybe. Like, to me, it was just so much stuff in there that I thought was completely unnecessary. While it made sense for a superhero film, for an actual movie, like from Spider-Man, who to me is not relevant at all in this movie, no need to have him actually in the film, to the airport scene that was just, let's see how much shit we can fuck up and how cool this can look. But if you actually took out Spider-Man and the airport scene, it has no bearings on the plot of the movie. And I think that is part of the downfall of this movie for me, is that it's so many scenes, so many times where I thought, like, wow, like, why would you go there with it? Like, why would you do this? If you're making a superhero film that's meant to strictly entertain people, not make them think any deeper, the level that Winter Soldier at times accomplished very well. If you wasn't looking for that, Civil War would be perfect. Yeah. And if they would have said Avengers Civil War, it'd have been fine. But the point that you said Captain America Civil War, I have a serious problem with that. Because first of all, this is not a Captain America movie. This is way more of a Black Panther film than it is a Captain America film for me. And that was a huge problem of mine. And then just to get back to the things that I said, okay, you could have cut this out. You could have cut out 90% of the Avengers and it would have been perfectly fine with just having Panther, Winter Soldier, and Cap. You could have had just those 3, because to me, even Tony was kind of unnecessary. Like, when you get to the part, the big emotional lift of the film to me, or the one that they tried to pull off with the death of the Winter Soldier causing the death of Tony's family. And I think 10 minutes into the film, I figured that out. the moment they showed the car speeding down and you saw him chasing the car, I said, oh, that's how it starts. Like, the point that I can figure that out in 10 minutes into the movie tells me that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, there was no need to do that. I think it failed on levels as a film, but succeeded on levels as a superhero film.
Yeah.
But again, that's not necessarily a great compliment to any filmmaker to say, like, okay, you made this great sub-genre film, but you didn't necessarily make a good film.
So you would say that they downgraded from Winter Soldier, what you're saying?
Oh, extremely to me. Like, even when I say superhero film, it's like I'm automatically eliminating any Batman film. Because none of them are superhero films. None of the Batman films are superhero films. To me, there's so much more than that. This film is just like popcorn, just strict entertainment. Like, I wasn't engaged in any of the characters. I didn't feel the need to be. Like, it's a Marvel film, which is that we're going to give the audience exactly what you want. You want to see them fight each other? We're going to give you that. You want to see Spider-Man? We'll give you that. You want to see Black Panther, though strictly CGI at times, do these awesome fight scenes? We're going to give you that. If you want to see something deep into character development or plot development or the worst part of the film that I've always talked about with almost every Marvel film, the villain, like, you're not going to get any of that. Like, they don't spend time, or matter of fact, at this point, they don't care about any of that. And I don't believe they should have to at this point. Right? Marvel is Apple. You stop making innovative things years ago. There's no reason for it. Like, iPhone came out, great. That was Iron Man 1. Since then, it's like, we'll tweak this a little bit. We'll tweak that a little bit. Let's make it screen bigger. That's Avengers. Like, that's what they give you as a film. So again, as a superhero film, it works really well. As just a film in general, it doesn't.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the things is I was gonna bring up is a question for y'all is like the specific emotional moments that happen in this film and how they actually hit y'all, you know, as superhero fans and as lovers of film, because I mean there was a lot of different emotional triggers. From what was going on with Iron Man. Now the thing about the Iron Man thing with the death, I remember if you paid attention in Winter Soldier, when they were in the underground bunker with Black Widow, it was already a sign that showed Tony Stark, like his dad's face up there. And I was led to believe that these were one of the targets that they had killed, that Hydra was directly connected to it, and thus Bucky was that person that Black Widow was like, he never misses. He's the one that always hits his mark. So I kind of was spoiled by that, so I kind of knew it. But, I mean, that wasn't for Robert Downey Jr., I will commend him because he committed to the emotional impact of that moment. I could tell it all over his face. That was one of the moments that surprised me in the sense of how he delivered it, but not the actual act itself. I mean, when Peter Parker was talking to Tony, and he was talking to him about the fact that he didn't just do this superhero thing because like he decided to do it. He was like, 6 months ago I had these powers, but before that I was nothing. Now I have a right to do this. I should do this. There's a mandate and a belief. And he didn't just do it the cliche way. And that's the reason why I love this Spider-Man. I thought that this Spider-Man was great. I can't wait for his movie. Even with Black Panther, losing his father and his turn to vengeance into justice and saving Baron Zemo. That was an emotional trigger. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think the movie had a lot of emotional triggers that got you, but the ones that should have been prevalent should have been Caps. Because the thing is that, I mean, Peggy died. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't get brought up again. But we know, and Black Widow knows, that this happened to hurt him. What meant to him. But this never gets brought up because the foreshadowing was really on Tony from the beginning of the movie. And I think that that's more of a marketing thing from Marvel's side, where they know that this is the money man. They know he can act. They know he brings it to the table, and they know he brings money. I mean, I think Iron Man 3 got almost over $1 billion, and that was, to me, my least favorite Marvel movie.
Hey, can I jump in there?
Yeah.
You mentioned about Steve not demonstrating emotion when Peggy died the same way Tony did about his father. And I'm going to comment about that because I'm probably older than all of you. Well, anybody in their 50s, raise your hand. Okay. This is my takeaway from that. Remember, Captain America is almost 100 years old. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, men could not show emotion. They could not. You had to be tough. You couldn't cry. He couldn't cry. He went in the hallway by the stairwell to let out a little bit of emotion about it. He could not cry. Tony Stark, and the other difference is that was Tony Stark's mother and father that were killed. The other interesting thing about Tony Stark's mother and father being killed is you still see that there is that rift that Tony has with his father, because what did he say? He said, "You killed my mother."
Yeah.
He didn't say you killed my parents. He said you killed my mother. So that was a different type of an emotional thing. And Tony doesn't come from the same place and time that Captain America does. I mean, things were just different, and I appreciated that.
See, I took it as something completely different. I took it, that didn't bother me that he didn't really show emotion when Peggy passed away, because I always looked at it as, with him being so old, I thought he already became reserved to the point that he would watch everybody he loved die.
Yeah.
Like if I'm 100 or however old he's supposed to be, no one else who I love should be alive. So I always felt that as a character, he came to grips with that during the Winter Soldier when he went to her bedside and she was losing her memory. At that point, I thought, okay, he knew then, like, she's going to die. And any emotion he would have had would have been pushed aside by the point that she actually passed away, which is cool with me. My whole thing was the emotional aspects of the film weren't executed well. I think I said when you asked me my favorite parts of the film, I said, to me, the emotional weight of the film was the Scarlet Witch. And if they would have shown just how bad she felt about everything that happened in Age of Ultron, like, that was real. Like, her pain for everything that happened, her pain for when she took the guy in the sky and he ended up blowing up and killing all those people in the building. Like, the emotion on her face when all of that happened was unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Like, and when I compared that to everyone else, they paled in comparison to her.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like Elizabeth Olsen is a better actor than the rest of them, but to me, for this film, she played that part so much better than the rest of them did.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. They didn't pay a lot of. They really didn't even bring up Pietro. And the weight.
That's another thing.
Exactly. That kind of hit her from that standpoint. I mean, you could feel it because she's matured and she's progressed because she's trying to be better. She's trying to be more efficient. But even with all that, she still failed. And I think that platformed her and Vision's relationship so well. And I can't wait for more of that because he was the person that saved her when she was willing to just go ahead and die after her brother died in Age of Ultron.
I can't get over the sweater. The sweater was blowing the fuck out of me that whole movie. Oh, I said, why do they have him in this Mr. Rogers sweater? Like, no, damn it, no. Like, it just irritated every part of me. And when he would get up and talk, and he has the Dockers on and the soft shoes, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, this dude can literally kill everybody.
Well,
why do we need to show him that?
He's trying to blend in.
Hey, you purple. You're purple.
But no,
like, what are you blending into?
He's humanoid though. Like real talk, he is humanoid.
Wait. Everybody that's in the Avengers or that's in that group, none of them walk around all day and all night with their fighting gear on. They all have regular clothes they wear all the time. He is trying to fit in with them.
Yeah.
He's trying to assimilate himself with them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need him to do it better than like a miss. That just didn't work. I hated that sweater. I really hated that
Now,
sweater.
how much time supposedly happened between Sokovia and this movie here?
I think it's
It
exactly
almost-
1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how much anger and grief is she supposed to hold on every day about Pietro? I think she demonstrated her pain of loss when he was killed, when she dropped down and destroyed all of the Ultrons around her. She let that pain out. So she did demonstrate pain, but she's not Batman. She's not brooding all day, every day. That
Well, I
oh,
mean,
he's dead. Every day I gotta kill somebody because he's dead. She can't do that all day.
true,
What
but
good would she be to the team if she was like that?
well, my rebuttal is that even that's the case, that's true. She only had her brother. That was it. And for me, if I lost, you know what I'm saying, somebody I was with all my life, especially after my parents died, I would still have different semblances around me. I mean, I couldn't just be around a whole new family and I would never bring up or talk about my brother. I think that where they could have slid in conversation about Pietro is when she was with Vision. That's what I was leading up to. I thought that their interaction, their
Or
love
Hawkeye.
stories, I mean, not even, yeah. I mean, that could have been a reason why he came back, to see how she really is doing. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't go there because, like I said, the way that the formula is, and you alluded to this, Lucas, it spoon feeds everything for you to be able to easily digest and get it.
Yep.
And the way that people get it, they also get the payoff from all the action moments and all the simplistic moments. But I'll give you one moment, right, Odison? When Sharon Carter revealed who she was, you know, and then afterwards she helps out Captain, and Captain already had been having these kind of feels with her, which is fine, you know. But I don't know if this is the same day or within 48 hours of that time frame, he proceeds to kiss her. And it builds up to this comedic moment that I love with Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan in the car, just sitting there smiling. I love that moment. But
I thought that part was really weird, man.
From out of respect, I don't know that was necessarily the time. But it built up for an awesome moment.
That's her niece. That's her niece.
Thank you. That's exactly what I said during the movie. Like,
but in the comics, it's supposed to happen. But my problem was that didn't have to happen now. That's what I was trying to say. Like,
she died 2 days ago.
Yeah,
she died 2 days ago. Like 2 days ago, she died. And you're like, you know what? You know, your aunt dead, so I'm trying to get this shit from you right now. Like, come on, are you serious?
Damn,
like,
yo, who y'all with? Mia Farrow against Woody Allen? I mean, damn. Come on.
Right.
If I could just weigh in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, everybody's made some excellent opinions and points, and I think for me the emotional part was more in line with Tony Stark, because I saw his rage against Bucky and Captain as an opposite to what happened to Batman in Batman v Superman, where we see Batman stepping back and realizing, well, hold on, I'm about to kill this alien who in fact has a human side. He has a human mother. He actually has morals. He's not here to destroy our planet. He's actually here to serve the greater good. And he showed that by sacrificing himself in the fight against Doomsday. But for Civil War, using Bucky to kill Tony's parents, and yes, as you say, he obviously still had issues with his dad, which is why he turns around to Captain America and says he killed my mother.
Yeah.
Again, there's that mother thing, that mother connection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Batman and Superman had it in the film. Iron Man has it in this film. So again, whilst people can joke around and take the piss about Batman v Superman, so the only reason they became friends because both of their mothers are named Martha, that go for it. That's entirely your own, you know, spiel and whatever. But the fact remains, Tony Stark was devastated to learn that someone close to Captain America that he regards Captain America as his friend goes and kills his parents, and what does Captain America do? Stops Tony from killing his friend when Tony thought that he and Steve were friends.
Yeah.
So again, there's that wedge being driven in between the friendship. You know, a mother has become, no, I wouldn't say a mother's come between two friends. It's just it's the fact that another friend has come between two friends. Yeah. Here, Tony thought that he had a really close friendship with Steve. Yes, he's always hated the fact that his dad was always talking about him when he was younger. He said, "Oh, you one day you'll have to meet him. If you ever do, he was a great guy. He was a great example of an American citizen. He just wanted to do serve his country, do this, do that." Tony got sick and tired of hearing that. He even tells it to Steve. He says, "Oh yeah. My dad never told me that you two knew each other only 1,000 times, and I got sick and tired of it." So for Tony, he just can't stand Steve's ideals.
Yeah.
And for him to stop him from going against Bucky, says to Tony, "I came here to you guys with an olive branch because I realized I made a mistake." Because he was obviously going up against Captain America because of what happened in Vienna and such. He realized he made a mistake. He was apologizing for it. But to then see that video of his parents being brutally murdered by Bucky, yes, he was brainwashed. But does that justify his actions? Personally, no.
No,
I don't think it does.
And even Bucky said that. Bucky was like, even though, I didn't, it's still with my I did it.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said. And it was yes, he was brainwashed, but it was still him. He might not have been in control of his actions, but he was still doing it.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by like the redeemable quality.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe after Black Panther he will be redeemed. Yeah. But it's like was mentioned earlier. I think was it Lucas who might have said it, and where he said that Marvel wimped out by not killing any of their characters. Yeah. That's not to say that they wouldn't bring them back, but they wimped out in the fact that right at the end there, where I thought Captain America was about to take off Tony's head with his shield, I thought this is the end for Tony. This could be the end. But again, didn't do it. Tony could have taken out Bucky completely. He could have completely, we saw him take off his metal arm. He could have finished him off. He was about to. But again, Marvel wimped out, whereas DC didn't. But we know that Superman's going to come back. So that's a whole different story anyway. Yeah. But again, I think that, they wimped out, and I just wish that they hadn't.
See, to me, the emotional connection that I think Anthony was talking about, how can the Winter Soldier redeem himself in the eyes of Tony? Yes. I don't believe the Winter Soldier is the problem with Tony.
No.
The person who has to redeem himself is Captain America. Yeah, this is a person, I think that relationship between them two is not a relationship of two friends. It's actually a relationship of big brother, little brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dad always talked great about my big brother. Like, he's awesome. I got to meet him. He does this. He does that. And I'm never good enough for him. But my older brother was. I believe that that's their relationship. Yeah. And I think it hurt him more, not that Winter Soldier did it, that Steve knew about it and didn't tell him anything about it.
Yeah.
I think that weighed way more on Tony than anything the Winter Soldier did.
That is what I think was the problem. Not the thing with Bucky. It's that Captain America said, yes, I knew.
Knew, exactly.
Because everybody's getting on this whole Buck. No, it's that he knew and never told him.
Yeah.
Because you see Tony get into a rage the moment he looks at Cap and says, did you know? The moment Cap says yes, Tony goes off.
He goes
because I believe if Cap would have said, no, I didn't know, Tony could have found a way to forgive anything the Winter Soldier did. The moment Cap said he did know about it, it set him off. It's like, you're you're my friend. You're like my big brother. My dad talked about you constantly, and you let him kill my mother.
Yep. Yep.
Granted, again, it wasn't executed well, but I understood that argument between them two. And again, same thing with Batman versus Superman to me. The Martha moment to me for this was when he said, "But he killed my mother." Like, I felt the same way when I heard like Superman say, "Don't kill Martha," even though I don't know too many people that call their mom by their first name. So, you know, it felt the same way to me. It's the same weight of both things happened to me.
Yeah.
Guys, I've just got to quickly say I'm going to have to head off. Okay, the girlfriend has gone to bed, so I've got to... I have been summoned, as I like to call it. So, but it has been fun. Maybe next time I might join in for the second part. When were you planning on doing that, Sam?
I'll let you know. I wanted to do it sometime this week, but if not, then I'll cater to maybe next week. I'll let you know.
Well, I probably could try. The only difference is I'm going to be in a different time zone from Wednesday for the next 2 weeks. And when I mean a different time zone, I mean your time zone, as in I'm going to be in Florida in 2 weeks.
Oh, snap.
This Wednesday till 2 weeks. Yeah, for 2 weeks. So that's where I'll be. But if I can, I might take like my tablet or something. I'll see if I can. If you can hit us up, I'll see if I can be available. But if not, then at least I've joined this one. That's good. Anyway,
yeah,
so
always appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming.
no problem at all. Thanks for having me, chaps. It's been a pleasure. Don't all
nice meeting you, man.
All right, man.
All right, see you all later.
All right, man.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, because what I wanted to go into is we didn't even dissect like the acting or even like the action set pieces or how much work was actually took into the production. But I think we'll talk about a lot of that later because I think that Marvel had to make a lot of compromising choices to get thus far. Because even with adding Ryan Coogler into the mix, like the director of Black Panther, bringing him here to actually work with them to make sure they get Black Panther right, like studios don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like they wait and they try to make it branch off something else. To take in with Sony and bring in Spider-Man, there's so many different things as far as the production stuff. But I'll bring that up a little bit later on. So it sounds like we went around a lot of different things, but what was your favorite moment of the movie? It can be an action moment. It can be an impactful moment. It can be a funny moment. This movie was a very funny movie and a very entertaining one. But what was your favorite moment of the movie?
Well, I don't know about the favorite moment, but I will speak for myself and my daughter when we both saw it. We loved the airport fight.
Yeah.
So we enjoyed that.
Yeah,
it's funny when I listen to some people who they didn't like it. Oh, it's this and that. You got to understand when we're reading a comic book and a team is fighting another team of multiple people and they break it into panels and they have a full 2-page spread, 1 page, shit's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
There's only so many ways they're trying to give you that, and yet for some it's not enough. They're trying to give you in the sense of your experience when you're reading it and looking at the artwork of all these characters flying around. I mean, if we look at a Marvel poster or any comic book, none of us said, oh, that's stupid. Look at all them guys fighting here and everybody's flying around. No, we love it. It's great. But we see it on the screen and there's something wrong with it. I don't know why, but I thought it was great. I thought it was a hat tipping to comic books, the same way as Age of Ultron started and they all had that shot across them.
Yeah.
When you catch all of them, that was a nod to everybody who really reads comic books, who sees that kind of stuff in artwork. That's what that was. That's what this was. I thought it was great as a lover of comic books from way back when. That I thought that battle, to see that, it was really good to see that, because I'm reminded of I'm looking at a comic book right now with everything that's going on. This is what it would be like if I was reading a comic book, trying to imagine this stuff actually going on. That's what it would look like.
Yeah, I think Kevin Smith, and y'all know Fat Man, he's hilarious. He has said that he had never imagined seeing all these characters at once, not just on the same screen, but engaging each other with their specific abilities, with their specific powers. And that's where I think that, remember, Lucas, we were talking about taking out of context the film versus the superhero element. Like, if I took this just for a superhero film, like, that's the first time I watched it, that's
Awesome.
how I took it, versus the second time I watched it as a critic. First time I watched it, I was, like, blown away. When I saw
Yes, you
Giant
was.
Man,
Yes,
when
you
I
was.
saw
I
Giant
would-
Man, I was geeking out. I didn't know how to contain it. Like, real talk, I did not know how to contain my perspective of what was actually happening. And then for Spider-Man to go and add in, like, the Empire Strikes Back. Like, you remember this old movie, The Empire Strikes Back? Just like he was knocking down the freaking walker. I was just like, this is something that you would see in a comic book. And this is really a nitpick for me. And I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to make this a whole different video comparing, like, this movie with other movies. When I looked at Batman versus Superman, and I'm sitting there watching the Trinity fight the semblance of Doomsday, in spite of what he looked like, the fact of it actually happening, or the fact of actually seeing Batman and Superman engaging, and the way that the pacing was done like a comic book spread, it immersed me into the moment. And that's what I felt for this, this actual airport sequence. I totally agree with you, Odinson. I think that they outdid themselves as a superhero film, just in that scene alone. But then, a lot of people don't even think about the beginning. The beginning was shot amazing, with very awesome practical effects, even Crossbones. I wish they hadn't killed him, but it
So
was
fast.
awesome.
He was so over the top.
It was awesome how, what I'm saying, they set that up. But it was like they just pooped out another villain. I was like, bro, y'all could at least had him be handcuffed and like then he breaks away, and then you get like the last shot of the movie is you have him with a rifle, and he got out and just you hear the gunshot go off, and then the movie ends. I mean, I don't know.
They
But
built him
totally
up
agree
for
with
a year and killed him in 10 minutes. They
Yeah.
built him up for a year and killed him in 10 minutes. It's awesome. I had no issues with that, like, at all.
Yeah, it was definitely took you outside of it. But Anthony and Lucas, real quick, what's y'all's favorite moments?
Yeah, overall, I did like the movie a lot. My favorite moment in the movie, there's two of my favorite moments was when Black Panther was chasing Bucky in that highway scene. I thought that scene was so intense, and it was so much fun to watch that. Like Bucky, Black Panther, and Cap just showing their skills. I thought that was really fun. And the interaction with Cap and Spider-Man when Captain's like, "Oh, you got a lot of heart, kid. Where you from?" And he's like, "Queens," and he's like, "Brooklyn." I was like, "Oh my God, yes, yes!" I was like, that. Everyone in the theater like jumped in that moment. Like, was so happy to hear that. Finally, just these characters interacting. So I thought that was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, it was so dope. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Not you,
My
Lucas.
favorite part is actually the beginning of the movie. That whole set piece of them trying to stop Crossbones was amazing to me. Like it embodied everything that I loved about the Winter Soldier
I agree.
into like a 10-minute clip, and all the way down to the end of him blowing up at the end and destroying the buildings, and again Scarlet Witch with the pure emotion on her face when all of that happened. Like, to me, I don't necessarily go for the big moments in films because I can break those down pretty easily. While the airport scene was great, it was shot well, it was executed well, I saw no point to it. But the beginning of the film, I was like, man, any doubts I had at the beginning of this film went away the moment I saw the first 10 minutes of it. Granted, it came back later on, but that first scene, I'm like, yes, they're going to make a Winter Soldier sequel, and then it turned into an Avengers movie later on.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's strange that we all got specific moments because mine is even different than all of y'all's. Mine is the very last fight with Tony and Cap. When the realization that Tony was willing to give up his ideals to kill the man that killed his mom. And then you realize, because the fight in the airport was amazing spectacle in and of itself, but they really weren't trying to kill each other. They were just fighting. in the book, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
People were trying to kill each other. So
Exactly.
when I saw Cap and Iron Man fighting, it was pure emotion and passion and hurt in the whole entire fight. Like, it wasn't so much that Tony was willing to, kill Cap, but if he got in his way from killing Winter Soldier, he was willing to take him out. And it's like, the question was at the very end for me after the fight, not so much the end of the movie, was that if the foot was on the other hand, if instead Iron Man had his hand out at Cap, would he have killed Cap? And I kind of feel like he really would have. And it had to end the way it did, and I love the way that they did it. I love that fight. Even like having that nudge of like Cap being like, I can do this all day. I was like, dude, what's gonna happen? I mean, there was a lot of moments that I felt like Cap could have died in this movie, trying to protect Bucky.
Should have died.
From Bucky almost killing him in the helicopter, from the beginning of him almost getting blown up, from even like fighting Iron Man in general. I mean, it was so many different moments that I felt real impending danger upon my hero, which I loved about the movie. The thing was that I'm not going to bring this up in part one. Is the problem I had was with the villain. It wasn't so much the actor, because the actor in the way that they use him as a plot device was well done. It worked for the facilitation of what was needed to happen. The problem that I had is that you got these other Winter Soldiers that are stronger, and you show them to my eyes to have
take them away.
Blow them away.
And he takes them all
I mean,
out.
don't show me. Just tell me. And I mean, I only thing I'll say, we'll go into part two later, is I felt like General Ross and then Martin Freeman's character, to me, they could have easily done what Zemo did in showing footage of what happened to Iron Man's parents. And what I mean by that is General Ross wants to have them dissected anyway. He hates Bruce Banner. He, by obligation, did the Concords, but he really wants to create his own Thunderbolts, which that's going to happen eventually. But I think that he could have easily been like, okay, y'all don't want to resolve this, Tony, I want to show you something. This man that you're trying to protect and your savior or whatever, this is what's really happened. This is what happened to your parents. I found this in the classifieds. And he could have done that. I mean, you got William Hurt. I mean, he's already been classified as a villain, established already. Zemo could have been, to me, saved for another time. And I think that Black Panther could have fit into that easily. But I'll say that for another time with the... But I think, in general, I think the movie was really good. It was an amazing superhero film. But the question was it a great film? And I think it was a good film. I think it was an amazing film. But I think that it could have took strides in a different direction to make it one of the best films. And I think that they just kind of, they had to hold back their punches. And I'm not sure if even, because I think that the Hulk was supposed to be in this one as well as Red Hulk. But they held those back. And at the same exact time, I think that they wanted to hold back the death of Captain America. But I believe what you said, Black Olsen, that they're going to actually kill him. They have to for me.
Really?
They have to for me.
I think that here's what I think. I think they're going to kill him in the first part. In the second part, they're all going to be getting their asses handed to them. Everybody's going to be laid out, and Thor's hammer is going to be laying there, and somebody's going to pick it up, and it's going to be Captain America.
I can see
He will
that.
finally come back and lift that hammer. I think he will turn that tide at the very end of the movie, of the second part. If I was doing it, I would let him come back. We don't know how he came back, but he's going to come back and lift that hammer.
I think if they didn't have the track record that they do, I could see that happening. To me, I believe it'll be a situation when they get to Infinity Wars where you won't see Captain America in the first film, but they're not going to kill him. I don't believe at this point Marvel has the guts to kill somebody that major to them. Even though everyone knows they will bring him back, they just don't have the guts to do that. I believe they're going to leave him out of part one.
I agree.
And try to make an excuse for him not being there, but they will not kill him. Because first and foremost, as I've always said when any Marvel film, these are family films. Like, you can't do that Superman death scene in a family film. That shit would traumatize children. Like, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't see them killing him. I always saw a situation where he wouldn't be around for part one, and I think they set it up perfectly by him saying, "When you need me, I'll be there." And I think it's going to take a situation where the Avengers are going to get their asses handed to them in part one, and Tony's going to break down and do something he doesn't want to do, which is call Cap and say, "I need your help."
Yeah.
While the hammer thing, I can still see the hammer thing happening, where for some odd reason Thor is out of it and Cap picks up the hammer and goes to town, but I don't see it from them killing him. It'll be him just naturally coming there.
I see a situation go south and I can't ignore it. I can't see that Captain America would know Thanos is here and do nothing and wait for them to call him to come and do something.
Man, that's a good point.
See, but I think that's the setup part. I think the whole part one will be a setup to, like, the ultimate reign of Thanos. I don't believe part one is going to be a situation where they're going to show a lot of Thanos in action, but they're going to show him laying out his plan. By the time they get to the point of him executing that plan, it will be too late for Cap to actually be in that movie. It's the whole back like Harry Potter did with Voldemort, where they held him back a lot in part one, where they showed him lay out his plan, but his plan didn't go into action until the end of the film. I think that's what you're going to see. And plus, to me, they have to focus way more on Strange and Panther in part one than they can with Cap.
Man, this is all speculation. We don't know, everybody. We're not talking about Disney or Marvel.
And clearly, my speculation is coming from, I have never read a comic book in my life. It's just
like some shit.
As a what the fuck? Like just as a movie, like, this is what I see happening. As a film, like, to me, all films break down the same way, and to me, it's breaking down exactly the way I thought it would. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to bring him along, he's going to fuck up some shit, but you got to focus on the other heroes first before you bring in a big gun. Captain America is Superman. You don't bring in Superman in part one. Fuck no, he needs to be gone for a minute. Cap needs to be gone for a minute. Something's going to happen either then.
Hello? Uh-oh. I don't know what happened. Well, everybody, I don't know why everybody dropped. I'm going to try to get some of them back, and we're going to go ahead and end this out strong. But as a take for me personally, I definitely give the movie a 9 out of 10. I think we've come out with a lot of different presentational perspectives of what we thought about the movie. We're not going to just end it there. We're going to be coming back for a part 2. I don't know what happened. Why did y'all leave? Why did everybody just leave? I was like,
nah, the shit just dropped, you know.
Disney cut us off. They like, hold up, these niggas are getting way too many plot points here.
I thought it was family court. I said, oh shit.
I told y'all, bro.
They was like, oh no, they gotta go. They gotta go. As Black Oda said, they got no white people there. We gotta cut them off. We gotta cut them off.
We on to something. So you know what? So we don't have any effects happen to this channel. We're gonna end it. Oh my gosh.
Get the hammers out. It's time for Mandingo fighting.
Oh.
Wow.
Right, we at the big house, bitches. We at the big house.
Anyway.
Wow. Nice Django reference there. Really
Anthony.
nice. Really.
Anthony, do you we're gonna end out. What did y'all give the movie as a score from 1 to 10? Real quick.
Right now, I would give this movie a score out of 10. I would give it probably like 8.5.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the movie overall, so.
Yeah. Broden son, what do you give it?
I told you he was going to lift that hammer, didn't I?
Oh.
Wow.
Broden son, what do you give it?
Oh, I gave it a 10.
Okay. All right. What about you, Lucas?
7.5.
All right, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. It was very entertaining. I mean, we've all talked about a lot of good points. I didn't want to talk too much about the negatives, but I've seen so many different people who talk about the spectacle of just the action sequences versus the dissection of everything, you know. And that's one of the things that I knew that we wouldn't be able to just do in just one part. We'd have to bring other people in. And why is Thor up there? And I knew we'd have to go really Hulk smash. Stop, Hulk. Just stop. We'd have to go into the reality of this as a superhero film and a movie. If we really want to be as analytical as we've been, and we want to make these movies envelop, and we want to be able to bring people in. I mean, the thing is, X-Men is about to come out in like 2 weeks, and they're already getting really bad reviews. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad. For me personally, not because I'm hoping the movie's gonna be bad, but because I'm hoping the movie's gonna be good. And on top of that, like, I don't want to just bash a movie or praise a movie just because everybody else is. I want to see it for myself. I want to get something from it, and you're not gonna get anything from it the same as me. But at the same time, this is something that from our lifetimes is never gonna happen again. And I think we're along for this amazing ride, and I thank all of y'all for joining, and thanks everybody that's in the chat right now. Anthony, do you want to talk about your channel real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Thank you for letting me be a part of this conversation. I had a lot of fun. My channel is just Anthony Rodriguez. You can follow me on Twitter at Anthony142013. I'm very excited to be part of this film community, and pretty much everything on my channel is just TV reviews, movie reviews, and just movie news in general about casting and certain directors and the future of everything, man. So I'm excited for my early YouTube career. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. Appreciate
Did you
it.
say your last name was Rodriguez?
Uh-oh.
Insert inappropriate joke here. That's what I thought, right?
No, I'm just thinking, you better hurry up and get them last webcasts out, because if Trump gets in, we're going to be on the
Oh, no.
Wow, see what I meant? See what I meant? Wow.
Last one out, bro. We're going to be on the other side.
Wow. Wow. Oh, my God.
Okay, so Broden's son, dude, you're a real talk, no, real talk. I mean, you said some crazy stuff, but you got a depth of knowledge and wisdom that I really appreciate. I really want to bring you back to the live streams. I think everybody has been not only entertained by you, but enlightened, because you've taken a whole different philosophical approach from it in thinking about Winter Soldier, and I really appreciate you for coming. Hopefully you come back, and yeah, man, appreciate you, man.
Well, when I come, they always appreciate it.
Oh!
Wow. Even I knew that was a setup. I knew that was a setup. The moment he said it, I said, damn. Well, goddamn. He set that up perfectly, Joe.
We're going to be working on some interesting projects in the future. You're going to be watching a lot more movies, and hopefully you're going to start doing some critiquing really soon. Thanks for coming out, man.
Cool.
All
Definitely. Right. The moment you get ready to actually get the drunken review game on.
That's funny, but we'll go into that another time. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Keep it locked, JVS. We ain't gonna stop. We'll be back for part 2 sometime this week, or if not next week. We'll keep y'all posted. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Peace, man.
Stop it.